Is AI killing our ability to think? In this video, we're going to look at our daily use of AI and how it could be destroying our own ability to think creatively. Stick around and find out what you can do to prevent cognitive decline. If you like the content, consider subscribing. New videos come out every Thursday. While you're there, don't forget to like the video. It helps the algorithm understand your preferences. Now, let's get into the video. When was the last time you actually formed a thought? Without AI helping you? Not refined? Not assisted? Just yours. Think about that for a second. Because most people, when they really sit with that question, realize they can't remember. And that's not a productivity conversation. That's an identity conversation. AI didn't just change how fast we work. It changed the process of thinking itself. There was a pattern we all used to follow. You had a question, a problem, something you needed to figure out. You'd sit with it. You'd search, read, absorb, contradict yourself, change your mind, search again. And somewhere in that friction, in that inefficient, slow, uncomfortable process, a thought formed. It was yours. It had your fingerprints on it. Now the pattern looks different. You ask, you accept, you publish. The gap between, I need to think about this, and here is my output, has collapsed. And most people treat that as progress. I want to challenge that assumption. Because thinking is no longer a requirement to produce output. Nobody wakes up one day and decides to stop thinking. That's not how this works. It's quieter than that. It happens in micro decisions, and it happens constantly. You need an idea for a piece of content. You used to sit with that, stare at the ceiling, pull from experience, frustration, something you noticed that week. Now you open a chat window and ask for 10 ideas. You pick one, you need to phrase something, you draft it, it feels clunky, so you paste it in and ask for a cleaner version. You take the cleaner version, you need to take a position on something. You're not sure where you stand, so you ask what the common perspectives are, you read them, and you adopt the one that feels most aligned. Each of these moves feels harmless. Each one saves a few minutes. But over time, the friction disappears. And depth disappears with it. This is the thing that nobody talks about, because it doesn't feel like loss. It feels like efficiency. We didn't lose thinking. We removed the conditions that required it. Here's the trade that's actually happening. AI gives you speed. It gives you clarity, polish, confidence, output. Those things are real. I'm not dismissing them. But in exchange, it quietly takes something. It takes cognitive resistance, the discomfort of not knowing something yet, the productive tension of sitting inside a problem. It takes ambiguity tolerance, your ability to hold a half-formed idea long enough for it to become something real. And it takes what I'd call the idea formation muscle, the capacity to generate original thought, not as a one-off, but as a consistent, reliable internal function. The answers get better. The thinking weakens. And because the answers are visible and the thinking is invisible, most people never notice the trade until it's already happened. This is where it gets philosophical, and I think this is the part that actually matters. There's a shift happening in how people relate to their own cognition. People are moving from being thinkers, people who wrestle with ideas, sit with complexity, form positions over time, to being prompters of thinking, requesters of finished cognition. You don't wrestle the idea anymore. You don't go 3 rounds with it, lose, come back the next day, and eventually land somewhere real. You request a conclusion, you review it, you post it. And slowly, without realizing it, you stop being the producer of thought and become the editor. You're curating outputs from a system that does the intellectual labor. And that might sound efficient, But what it actually means is that the thought is never really yours. You didn't build it. You selected it. We are slowly becoming editors of intelligence, not producers of thought. Now, I want to be clear about something, because this is where people make the wrong turn. AI is not the problem here. It's not. I use it constantly. The problem is passivity. The problem is convenience accepted without intention. The problem is the removal of friction. And the thing about friction is that it's not just annoying resistance. Friction is where growth happens. Friction is the mechanism. Anything that removes friction also removes growth. That's true in training. That's true in relationships. And it's absolutely true in thinking. The question isn't whether to use tools that reduce friction. The question is whether you're consciously preserving the friction that matters. That's the end of part 1. Before we head into part 2, you'll find a link in the description that's for an assessment. Take the 2-minute assessment to find out what you can do to create better content and scale using AI. Without losing your soul. Remember to subscribe if you like the content. See you next week. So I'll leave you with this. If AI disappeared tomorrow, not the productivity features, not the automation, just the thinking assistance, how much of your thinking would still function? Would you know how to sit with a problem that didn't resolve quickly? Would you be able to form an idea from scratch, without prompting, without a starting point handed to you? That's not a hypothetical designed to scare you. It's a calibration question. Because the people who stay dangerous, who stay original, who stay worth listening to, they're not the ones who avoid AI. They're the ones who never outsource the part that makes them. This is exactly what I explore in my assessment, where you sit in this shift between thinking and outsourcing. The link is below if you want to find out.